fifth consecutive practice Wednesday for various reasons. Austin's playing in a 27 victory over Tennessee. Doug Marrone spoke to media on a timetable for Jalen's back, to which he has missed the most recent practices.
No, I think we're going to look at it, talking to Jalen today, basically it's going to be it's a day-to-day type thing.
The wildcard game for the AL took place last night as the Rays started hot with a home run on the fifth pitch of the game, and they never really cooled down, taking a 5-1 victory over the A's. They now move on to play the Astros in the division series tomorrow. 71 degrees at 7:02. Time and temp are brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
This 1010XL 92.5 FM hour is powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. Ladies and gents, please put your hands together as Dan Hicken enters the studio.
You know it! Yada, yada! Yes, sir! That was impressive. Woo! Man. Let's go. Hurrah! Hurrah! Good morning, people.
Morning.
Hello, Taylor.
Hello.
Like a bear. Taylor hadn't shaved her legs. We know that.
That might got my pants on today.
Update.
Either.
Update, ladies and gentlemen. So I saw, listen, there were 3 must-see things on television last night for sports fans, I thought. And so I worked all of them in a little bit. Yeah, I took
one.
Obviously, baseball was, I love the playoffs.
Yeah.
Rays and A's. Congrats to the Rays. Bit of a surprise, I think. But
Then you see that A's lineup, and are you really surprised? The surprise to me was, how did Oakland win 98 games? Holy cow. And the Rays, the lowest payroll in baseball. The bad news Rays.
Yeah, so which is kind of a cool story.
There's your money ball, by the way, Billy.
Yeah.
Since you're such the money ball guy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what are you going to do? One game, anything could happen. That's
happened 9 times in a row for the A's.
That's the brutal. That's the brutal thing about the. It's happened 9 times in a row for the Braves too.
That's correct.
That's the brutal thing about the wild card, though. You play 162 games. That'd be the one thing. Look, I went through in 2016 one game, shutout baseball for 8 innings. Relief guy gives up a home run, you lose. It's awful. It's awful. So that's if you're in the wild card, that's a tough thing, man. You fight and scratch and claw, and you want to make the quote playoffs, but the playoffs really, if you don't win the division, it's a one-game deal, and that's tough. And those two teams will. Now the Brewers gut punch. At least the A's were pretty much out of it the whole way. They went with the wrong guy. They started the Mania kid, and he didn't have it, and so the Rays hit him pretty good, and they beat him. So anyway, Rays move on to take on the Astros. And drill poll question of the day presented by Lock Law DUI and Criminal Defense. Know before you blow. 858-9818. If you only get to watch one baseball playoff series, which one? At Dan Hicken. The 4 choices are there. Number 2 that I watched was, I had it on in the office, the wrestling. The wrestling. The Tony Khan's wrestling. Yeah.
It's so funny.
Yeah. So I just wanted to see.
A little bit of the bubbly.
I wanted to see what it was about. And,
like all the others.
Yeah, but, I mean, listen, I was thinking this. That looks to be like you get a TV contract, that looks like to be a gigantically brilliant financial move. Don't you think?
If it lasts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of people talking about it.
I mean, in the world, the place was packed.
Well, there's a void. There's a void for wrestling right now because forever there was NWA, then WCW.
Well, I did a little research, so I guess
Extreme Championship Wrestling has always just stayed rogue and regional. So the WWE doesn't have a national competitor.
Which is the one that's current? Like what?
WWE is the one that's
so that's
been around
on Monday
forever.
nights.
And it's also on Tuesday.
It's on Tuesday.
And they've started their own internal competition. They have a next series, which is
AAA.
The AAA,
and that's going to be on Wednesday nights.
Opposite your new favorite TV show.
Right. But the Tuesday night one is moving to Friday nights on Fox.
Correct.
So, anyway, it's just interesting.
I don't watch any of them ever.
I don't either, but I had it on in the office, so I looked up at it.
That's not true. I will flip it on there in commercials sometimes on Monday.
Well, you probably know more about it than I do, but
Yeah, I've watched wrestling in the past.
I was at one of the guys in the office follows it, and so he was telling me all who the different guys are. Anyway,
Well, I'm sure what they have is they've probably stolen or taken some of the talent that used to be at WWE.
Right.
They found it from other wrestling circuits. And
right.
They probably have some old, they tried and find some old legacy guys. Who's the face of their new, who was it?
Jericho.
Is it Jericho?
Jericho.
All right.
Who's put on some lbs. He needs to get in shape. They got Dusty Rhodes kids,
I will say
though.
this. I will say this about AEW, which is Tony Khan's venture.
Yes.
I don't know if we mentioned that, but Tony Khan's
Yeah,
venture.
that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
It looks like
it is. It got WWE's attention.
Yeah.
Like they've counter-moved and counter-programmed.
Right.
This past Monday, they had Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair on their program.
I think they had
playing like the all-time great kind of.
I think they had a commercial during AEW because they're coming to Jacksonville.
Okay.
So anyway,
so
a little bit of the bubbly. Yeah, I didn't pay a ton of attention to it, but I was just curious about it, so I watched it and I thought, wow, if you get a TV contract, you're in.
Text line got cracks me
Wrestling
up.
Dan.
Yeah.
On the text line, is Hacker on the program now?
Yeah.
What is going on right now?
Good question. Yes, so I'll move on. Best thing I saw, I went
There was
home.
a time where I had a narrow esophagus.
Yes, best thing I saw was the Gator deal.
It wasn't that good.
Oh God, it was awesome.
Okay,
if you're a fan of the team, it is.
I'm gonna have to watch it. It was too late for me last night.
I got goosebumps watching.
I forgot
that
about
thing.
it this
man.
morning.
Oh man!
Really?
I mean, spoiler alert here, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, it's some of the shots that they take of Lake Alice and the Gator, and it's so good as like film and the zoom ins, and I don't know if they do it with drones or
the
whatever.
production you liked or the content?
Oh, so good. And the
I read
writing.
a synopsis online, and it didn't look like there was a whole lot of like stuff you didn't know.
Oh, and
insight.
When Orr walks into the office and starts drawing ball plays, I mean, my God. Oh,
that's awesome.
You do it, Orr.
I'll watch that today.
Oh, that was fantastic. And then Mullen talking about him. He's got a little bit of a potty mouth. Found that out too. He was not.
I mean, that's college football coaching.
Yeah, yeah.
Bobby Johnson ain't walking through that door, Hick. The old Vandy coach, remember him?
Yeah. He doesn't
No
swear.
cussing, yeah.
And great scenes with Felipe Franks just at his house, and he's crying. He got emotional after his surgery, and Mullen's wife went over there and took him food, and a bunch of the players were over hanging out with him, and he lifted his shirt up and kept wiping away the tears out of his eyes because he knows, his season's done.
Yeah, Felipe Franks from the outside looks like a player that wouldn't be real
he's
likable,
beloved.
but they love him. Yeah, that explains a lot, by the way, in just why Felipe Franks, in what was obviously those two are close in town.
Yeah. Trask has,
No
zero personality.
Yeah, I figure that.
And so, but the receivers and Kroll, I think Kroll and Heggie live with Felipe Franks too, from what I could see at his house. And so that whole deal was awesome. And
it looks like they got a pretty
Mullen
tight-knit
sucking
team.
back a brew after the Tennessee game in the parking lot down under the stadium
Well,
with
that's
his
what you
friends
should
and
do.
with his friends and family, and they've got football on. He goes, "Isn't this crazy? We're coaches. What do? We watch more football after we just coach football, and I'm gonna come back tonight and grade everything." And it's great. I mean, listen, you want to talk about idea to make money? For me, and I don't know how other people feel about it, but that would be a wave of the future thing. You do one of those if I was the University of Florida.
You'd
I'd
hire somebody to do it for you.
I'd produce one of those once a week during the season and charge or
Put it online.
Man, there's got to be something because it's terrific. And you get to follow your team like that behind the scenes.
So that you did get some insight.
I love it.
All right, well, I'll have to watch
I mean,
it.
they could do.
I kind of suspected, my suspicion was it wouldn't really give you all that much intel.
Listen, we don't get to go to a lot of these places that
Anymore,
we
yeah.
get to see anymore.
We used to get to do those stories ourselves.
Correct. And we don't anymore. So it takes you behind the scenes just in terms of visuals.
Yeah.
You're not necessarily getting him
Right.
saying we got to do this or we got to do
I hate
that.
this player. This player sucks.
Yeah. So, but you do get a lot of bed check at the hotel, and it's just great stuff, man. I
I'll watch
thoroughly
is
enjoyed it.
1 hour or two?
1 hour.
1 hour?
So
and just one off. They go to Florida. That's
next
it.
is
So
Arizona
we won't see
State or
Florida
Penn
again.
State. Yeah, we're done.
Now, will you watch the other ones? Was this one good enough to watch?
I'll
the
watch
other ones?
the other ones.
But you really like that format.
Yeah, but
more
I
than
love.
I do. I mean, I'll watch it, but I don't.
It was like Hard Knocks on steroids
Yeah.
for me.
Oh,
because
it
it's
was
my
the Gators,
team.
or because it was better?
Because it's the Gators.
But it was, as far as what you got, similar.
Yeah, but we didn't do as much of the musical practice stuff, which I don't really care about. Show me a couple throws and let's go. What are you going to? But it was good. It was I thought it was great. I thought Gator fans would enjoy it. So well done, HBO.
Okay.
The other big story, which we buried, is Jalen. And again, we'll see today. Listen, it's sort of a standoff. The Jags, I was down at the locker room yesterday, and Jalen, during the media time, hangs out in the equipment room.
Mm-hmm. Just out of
Peeks.
the line of fire.
Disrespectful.
Yeah, he peeks out.
Wait till
If
everyone's
I
gone.
turned around, I would have waved at him, but I didn't. Marcel told me he saw him. Jalen's right over there, and I go, where? And he was gone. But he peeks out to see if we're done, and he doesn't come in, which I'm not going
What's
to
he gonna
talk.
say?
I know he's not
Right.
going to talk,
No,
so it doesn't matter.
yeah.
You can come in if you want. But anyway, so Shad Khan has sort of said, come out and said, we're not trading him. And Jalen has already come out by his actions and said, well, I'm not playing or practicing. Now, up to this point.
At some point, the Jags have to declare him healthy and him not get a paycheck.
I would assume until they come to some sort of understanding. This is just me now, and I don't know this. But what indication has Jalen given us that he is going to play or practice?
None. He's given us the indication that
he's not going to.
Correct.
He's missing.
Well, here, again, the line
People
has to
keep
be drawn
saying-
here, Dan. It's easy for Jalen to do that when he's getting a paycheck on Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're deactivated because of injury, you're getting a paycheck. At some point, the Jags would have to take this tough stance. He's not injured. You either practice or you're suspended.
The Jags, as you know,
Which
have
I don't know if that's
supported-
true or not.
Well, the Jags have totally
I know
supported
that.
Jalen Ramsey up to this point
Yeah.
in terms of trying to make peace with him. So
It-
I don't know
support,
where it's
yeah,
at. I don't know if there's
minimum.
Khan's talked to him, obviously. Marone's talked to him, obviously. I don't know if TC's talked to him. I don't know where they're at. Listen,
This is the equivalent of a parent, grounding a child and then you fire the parent. I mean,
Yeah.
and I don't mean to say that he has parental obligations, but one thing that is lost, and if not, there is a chain of command. But we've already been through all that. To me now, it's to me it seems simple, Dan. The Jaguars grant Jalen and his agent the freedom to go find a deal that the Jaguars can accept. In the meantime, while you do that in good faith, play as hard as you can for the team that you're on and is paying you now.
Yeah.
But as long as Jalen Ramsey can skip everything and still get paid, he's going to do that.
All right, so busy day today, a lot to discuss. Jags go to Carolina. More thoughts about the locker room and what's going on over there. Look, Minshew watch, you got to keep an eye on that knee. We'll talk to Doc Murphy about that. But to me, I would think there's definitely something wrong with the knee. I mean, just because it's
Sure.
I got to think it's either
Absolutely.
sprained or partially torn MCL.
I was the bad guy Monday. I was trying to warn people.
Something along those lines. So
I got that from Jaguars insider Terry Smits.
Terry Smith.
yeah, that was
Minshew's
good.
doing that.
He
with him.
loves that. That's funny. That's a good laugh in there every week. All right, so just warming up right here. We'll tell you about Terry. Gary.
Yeah. We have a cut too.
His name's Gary Smith.
Been here forever.
He's been here forever, but Gary got Gardner's name wrong on 2 different occasions, and Gardner got a kick out of it. So now he just says, "Okay, that's fine, Terry." And he said, "I like Larry," and he goes, "Well, then change your name." Good stuff. All right, let's roll on. We'll take a break. Come back with more next.
Now, Downtime with Dan on 1010XL. Brought to you by Ameris Bank. Our look is changing, but our commitment to you remains fierce. Learn more at amerisbank.com/new look.
I think what worries me mostly about the knee is I'm not sure how mobile Gardner Minshew will be. And